Life only happens once. Will you live it like a spectator standing outside or like the main character writing your own story? I want you to pause for a few seconds and really think about that. There are people who wake up every morning right on time. They go to work. They pay bills. They scroll through their phones. They smile when they're supposed to smile. They say they're fine, but deep inside, they're slowly losing connection with their own lives. The scariest thing is not that one day you will die. The scariest thing is reaching the end of your life and realizing you never truly lived. Do you know why so many people feel empty even though their lives seem completely normal on the surface? Because existing is not the same as living. Some people live 80 years without ever pursuing what they truly wanted, without ever daring to step outside their comfort zone, without ever daring to say what they really think, without ever truly experiencing the beauty of life instead of merely trying to survive each day. They live like a shadow of themselves. I've met many people like that in my life. People who worked for decades only to one day sit down and ask themselves, what did I actually live for? And the heartbreaking part is that question usually comes too late. Today, this is even more dangerous. People are busier than ever, but also more lost than ever. We get pulled into social media, into the pressure to succeed quickly, into comparing our lives to other people's lives, into all the noise that makes us forget who we truly are. You can make money and still feel empty. You can stay very busy while never moving toward the life you truly want. And that's why today, I want to share with you the most important lessons about truly living before it's too late. Not just existing, not just going through life like a repeated routine, but living with purpose, living with awareness, living in a way that one day you can look back without regret. And stay until the end of the video, because lesson number 8 may make you rethink your entire life before time takes away opportunities you will never get a second chance to have. Lesson 1, most people exist instead of living. I once heard a quote that deeply made me think. Many people die at 25 but aren't buried until 75. The first time I heard that, I stayed silent for a long time, because I realized the most dangerous thing in life is not failure. It's living too long in a life with no emotion, no purpose, no life left inside. Have you ever felt like you were living on autopilot? Every day feels the same. Wake up, check your phone, go to work, come home, feel exhausted, then sleep so tomorrow you can repeat it all again. Day after day, week after week, year after year. And the scary thing is, many people begin to get used to it. They stop questioning things, stop dreaming big, stop expecting anything meaningful from life anymore. They just try to survive. I once met a man at a seminar many years ago. He was in his 50s, well-dressed, stable job. From the outside, his life looked perfectly normal. But during our conversation, he told me something I still remember to this day. Jim, I think I spent my whole life preparing to live, but I never actually lived. You see, that is the biggest trap in life. So many people keep postponing their lives. They say, when I make enough money, then I'll live. When I have more free time, then I'll live. When things become stable, then I'll live. When life gets less stressful, then I'll live. But life waits for no one. While you postpone living, time quietly keeps moving forward. Youth disappears. Energy disappears. Opportunities disappear. And one day, you look back and realize you spent too many years chasing urgent things while forgetting what truly mattered. Today, this happens more than ever before. Modern people are always busy, but being busy does not mean you are truly living. Some people spend 8 hours a day doing work they hate, then spend another 4 hours scrolling social media just to forget the emptiness inside. They smile at others but no longer feel genuine joy. They stay online constantly but lose connection with themselves. That is not living. That is simply existing in a cycle repeated over and over again. And I want you to understand something very important. Life is not measured by how many years you exist. It is measured by how deeply you feel, grow, and who you become during those years. Some people live 30 years filled with passion, meaning, and experiences. Some people live 80 years without ever daring to leave their comfort zone. The difference is not time. The difference is the way you live. I remember early in my life, I also lived like many other people. I worked only to pay bills. I let circumstances decide my future. I thought life was simply about trying to get through the day. Until I met Earl Schaff. He didn't just change my income. He changed the way I looked at life. He made me realize that if you don't intentionally design your life, you will accidentally live the life your circumstances create. That was the moment I woke up. I started reading more books, learning more, becoming more disciplined, thinking bigger, Not because I wanted to become famous, but because for the first time in my life, I truly wanted to live. You see, many people think living means making more money. No, money can make life easier, but money cannot replace the feeling of living in alignment with who you truly are. There are millionaires living deeply empty lives, and there are ordinary people whose days are full of meaning because they are present in their own lives. They know what matters. They know who they want to become. They do not let life pass unconsciously. And the question for you is, are you truly living, or are you simply repeating the same days over and over and calling that life? Pause for a few seconds and ask yourself that. Because sometimes, the moment that changes your entire life begins with one very simple question. And what keeps many people continuing to live half asleep like this is exactly what we're about to talk about next. Lesson 2, comfort is slowly killing your potential. There is something most people do not realize until it's too late. Life is rarely destroyed by one massive collapse. It is usually stolen little by comfort. Comfort does not hurt you immediately. That's why it's dangerous. It's like sitting in a room slowly losing oxygen. You don't immediately notice something is wrong. You still feel okay, still live normally, until one day you no longer have enough life inside you to pursue anything meaningful. I've seen many people with incredible potential, intelligent, capable, full of dreams. But then they chose the easy path for too long. They postponed learning a new skill, postponed starting the work they truly loved, postponed changing themselves, even postponed the important conversations in life, and gradually procrastination became a lifestyle. You see, the problem is not rest. Everyone needs rest. The problem is when people become addicted to ease. Today, the world makes this more dangerous than ever. You can spend hours scrolling on your phone without realizing time is disappearing. You can constantly receive dopamine from short videos, notifications, and social media without ever doing anything difficult. Modern people are surrounded by things that make them feel instantly comfortable while becoming weaker every day. A young person may say they are tired, but in reality, what they lack is not rest. What they lack is purpose, meaning a sense of progress. Because when someone truly has a clear purpose, they can endure tremendous hardship and still feel alive. I remember once a man asked me, "Jim, why do I always feel stuck?" I asked him back, "What do you do every day that helps you grow?" He stayed silent. That is the problem for many people. They want life to change, but do not want to change their habits. Want success, but refuse to leave comfort behind. Want a better life, but spend most of their time on things that make them weaker. And remember this, too much comfort will make people lose the ability to endure difficulty. Like a tree kept forever inside a greenhouse. It may look beautiful, but one strong wind and it breaks. Life is the same. If you always choose what is easy, you will become fragile under life's pressure. That is why so many people today give up easily. A small failure and they stop. One criticism and they lose motivation. One small hardship and they doubt themselves. Not because they were weak from the beginning, but because they have lived too long inside their comfort zone. I want you to think about this. The moments that helped you grow the most in life were usually not the easy ones. They were the moments when you were forced to become stronger, when you failed but kept going, when you got rejected but still stood back up, when you had to do difficult things even when nobody encouraged you. That is where true strength is built. I was once poor, once in debt, once disappointed in myself. But if back then I had chosen to continue living in comfort and blaming my circumstances, my life probably would have never changed. You see, self-discipline is not about punishing yourself. Discipline is how you protect your future from the weak version of yourself today. Every time you wake up earlier, learn something new, refuse procrastination, stay consistent with good daily habits, you are building a stronger person. Success does not come from rare big decisions. It comes from small choices repeated every single day. And that is what most people do not want to hear. They want powerful motivation, want rapid transformation, want immediate results. But real life does not work that way. A good life is built from small success principles, quiet habits, right choices made even when nobody is watching. I believe one of humanity's greatest tragedies is this. People trade long-term potential for short-term comfort, and years later, they wonder why their lives never changed. Ask yourself this, what difficult thing are you avoiding today simply because it makes you uncomfortable? Because sometimes the door leading to the life you want is hidden behind the very difficulty you keep avoiding. And something even more dangerous than comfort is feeling busy while being completely empty inside. Lesson 3, you can be busy and still empty. One of the biggest traps of modern life is this. People think they are moving forward simply because they are always busy. But being busy does not mean growth. Being busy also does not mean happiness. And certainly being busy does not mean you are truly living. I've met people who work 12 hours a day, schedules packed tight, phones constantly ringing, emails nonstop, life always busy. But when they sit alone, they feel empty. Do you know why? Because many people use busyness to escape themselves. They fear silence. They fear facing the question, am I truly living the life I want? So they keep themselves busy. Social media, messages, short videos, work, unnecessary meetings, always noise everywhere. But inside, no real connection remains. Today, this is happening everywhere. Some people wake up and the first thing they do is grab their phone. Not to learn something new, not to grow themselves, but simply to fill the emptiness inside. They scroll for hours without realizing they are spending their lives on things that leave no real value behind. Then at the end of the day, they say, I was so busy today, but let's be honest with each other. Busy doing what? Busy building your life, or busy numbing your mind. Those are completely different things. I remember many years ago, when I was young, I thought working hard alone was enough. I believed that if I was always busy, it meant I was progressing. But then one day I realized, a person can run very fast while still running in the wrong direction. That is why so many people, despite years of effort, still feel their lives never change. Not because they are lazy, but because most of their energy is being consumed by things that do not matter. They react to everything instead of intentionally creating their own lives. You see, modern life makes it incredibly easy for people to lose focus. Every app wants your time. Every platform wants to keep your attention as long as possible. And if you are not careful, you will spend most of your life living in distraction. That is why I have always believed this. The ability to focus is one of the most valuable assets a human being can have. Where you place your attention every day determines who you become. If every day you spend hours on negativity, comparison, endless entertainment, distraction, don't be surprised when your life slowly becomes empty. Because your mind is being fed with things that have no depth. A meaningful life is not built on constant distraction. It is built on presence. Presence in your work, presence in your relationships, presence in every small moment of life. Some people sit beside their families while their minds stay on their phones. They travel without truly experiencing where they are. They work without knowing why. That is not living. That is existing in a state of constantly being pulled around by everything surrounding you. I've seen many entrepreneurs who succeeded financially but completely lost their inner peace. Their schedules are packed, always chasing new goals, always running forward, but they no longer know how to enjoy life. They forgot what it feels like to sit quietly and think, read a book slowly. They have sincere conversations with people they love, watch the sunset without rushing. You see, a life full of activity can still be an empty life. That is why self-discipline is not only about working hard. Discipline is also the ability to eliminate the things stealing your life away. Sometimes what changes your life is not doing more. It is stopping the things that no longer matter. Stopping living on autopilot. Stopping wasting energy on meaningless things. Stopping letting the world decide what deserves your attention. Because where your attention goes, your life follows. And if you do not control your attention, someone else will do it for you. I want to ask you something. When was the last time you truly sat alone without your phone, without noise, without distraction, and just faced yourself? Many people are afraid of being alone with their own thoughts. Because deep inside, they know something in their lives needs to change. But instead of facing it, they keep themselves busy. Remember this, a busy day is not necessarily a meaningful day, but a conscious day can change your entire future. And there is one thing that keeps many people continuing to live half awake like this. That thing is fear. Fear keeps people from ever truly living as themselves. Lesson 4, fear keeps people half alive. I believe there is an invisible prison holding millions of people captive every single day. And the frightening part is most of them do not even realize they are inside it. That prison has no bars, no locks, no guards. It is built from fear, fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of judgment, fear of starting too late, fear of not being good enough, fear of losing security, and gradually fear causes people to shrink themselves. I once said, people are usually limited not by ability, but by what they believe they cannot do. There are so many people out there with talent, with potential, with big dreams, but they never truly live the life they want because they are too afraid to begin. They want to start their own business but fear failure. Want to pursue their passion but fear being laughed at. Want to change their lives but fear leaving their comfort zone. So they continue living a life that makes them unhappy simply because it feels familiar. Do you see the irony? People often choose familiar pain instead of the opportunity for change because fear always makes the old feel safer. I remember a man once telling me, "Jim, I've had this idea for 10 years. I asked, "Then why haven't you done it?" He gave an awkward smile and said, "I don't think I'm ready yet, but listen to me carefully. A lot of people do not need more time. They need more courage. Because the truth is, you will never feel completely ready. If you wait until you are no longer afraid, you feel fully confident, everything is perfect, you may wait your entire life. Life does not reward people who only think. It rewards people who act even while they are still afraid. I was once poor, once failed, once doubted myself. There were moments I looked at other successful people and wondered whether I was capable of changing my life. But then I realized something. Fear will always be there. The difference is this. Some people let fear control their lives, and some people act despite fear. That is where growth begins. Many people think successful people are fearless. That's not true. They are afraid too. They worry too. They also have moments of self-doubt. But they understand something very important. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is taking action even when you are afraid. Today, social media makes people's fears even greater. Young people constantly see others succeeding quickly, others becoming richer, more attractive, more famous, and then they begin doubting their own worth. They fear they are not good enough, fear being left behind, fear being too ordinary. But remember this, you do not need to become someone else to live a meaningful life. You only need enough courage to become yourself. One of the greatest tragedies in life is this, living according to other people's expectations for so long that you lose who you truly are. Some people choose careers only to please their families. Some people live by society's standards. Some people smile every day while completely exhausted inside. They live like actors in their own lives. And the years quietly pass by. I want you to imagine a scene. One day, you grow old. You sit alone looking back on your life. The thing that will hurt you the most will not be your failures. It will be the opportunities you were too afraid to take, the dreams you were too afraid to try, the life you were too afraid to live. That is the real pain. There is a quote I love. A ship is safest in the harbor, but that is not what ships are built for, and neither are you. You were not born merely to exist inside your comfort zone. You were born to grow, experience life, and discover your true potential. Self-discipline does not only help you succeed, it helps you become stronger than your own fear. Every time you do something difficult, say what needs to be said, step outside your comfort zone, try again after failure, you are breaking down the invisible walls imprisoning your life. And trust me, the life waiting on the other side of fear is often far more beautiful than you imagined. I want to ask you a question. If fear did not exist, what would you start doing today? Think deeply about that. Because sometimes the distance between the life you have now and the life you want is just one courageous decision away. And the reason so many people never change is because they always think they still have plenty of time. But the truth is, time is moving faster than you think. Lesson 5, every day you delay, life moves forward without you. There is something I wish more people understood earlier in life. Life does not stand still while you procrastinate. Time keeps moving. Opportunities keep disappearing. Youth keeps fading away. And the frightening part is most people only realize that when it is already too late. I want you to imagine yourself standing in a train station. A train called life is preparing to leave. You tell yourself, I'll start tomorrow, when I feel more confident, when I'm less busy, when things are more perfect. But life does not wait for you to feel ready. The train keeps moving. That is what many people do not want to face. They think they still have plenty of time. But time is the one thing that, once lost, never comes back. Have you noticed this? When people are young, they often live as if they are immortal. They postpone taking care of their health, learning, pursuing their dreams, expressing love, changing themselves. They always believe, I'll do it later. But later is where many dreams go to die. I met a man many years ago. He worked a stable job for more than 30 years. Every day looked exactly the same. He once wanted to start his own business, wanted to travel, wanted to write books, but he always said, I'm waiting for the right time. Then one day, he looked at me and said, Jim, I spent my whole life waiting for life to begin, and now I realize it already passed me by. That was one of the saddest things I have ever heard. You see, many people do not fail because they lack ability. They fail because they procrastinate for too long. They think, one day doesn't matter, 1 month is insignificant, 1 year will pass anyway. But life is built from small days like those. Every day you delay, a bad habit grows stronger, an opportunity disappears, a part of your potential quietly falls asleep. That is why I have always believed this. One of the most important success principles is learning to act even before everything is perfect. Successful people are not always certain. They simply decide to start sooner than others. Today, many young people are trapped in a constant state of preparation. They watch hundreds of motivational videos, read countless self-development books, make endless plans, but they never act. And be careful with that, because knowledge without action becomes the illusion of progress. You feel like you are moving forward while your life actually remains still. I once said, don't spend so much time making a living that you forget to create a life. That is exactly what is happening to millions of people. They stay busy making money for the future while losing the present. They sacrifice health, family, peace of mind, youth, hoping that one day they will finally live. But life is not in the future. It is happening right now. In this very moment you are hearing these words. I want you to think deeply about that. How many years of your life have passed simply because of hesitation, fear, procrastination, waiting for the right moment? Do you know the saddest part? Many people do not realize they are wasting their lives because waste happens very quietly. There is no explosion, no warning. Just one more day of procrastination, one more year inside the comfort zone, one more forgotten dream. Then time slowly takes away your energy little by little. Today, social media makes this even more dangerous. People see too many different lives every day until they forget to live their own. They spend hours watching other people travel, succeed, become wealthy, become happy, while their own lives remain frozen. You do not need more inspiration to change your life. You need action. One small step is still more powerful than a perfect plan that never gets executed. Read one page. Exercise for 20 minutes. Start a new skill. Send that email. Say those words. Start that project. Life changes through small actions repeated daily with self-discipline. No one can live your life for you. No one can use time on your behalf. And remember this, one day you would trade everything just to have one more year of youth. But by then you may no longer have the opportunity. So don't wait. Don't wait until life forces you to change before you finally start truly living. Start today, right now, because life is moving. The question is, are you moving forward with it or standing still while time carries everything away from you? And the thing that hurts many people the most is not failure. It is achieving success while losing themselves along the way. Lesson 6, success means nothing if you lose yourself. There is a truth many people only realize after years of chasing success. Money cannot heal an empty soul. You may achieve status. You may become famous. You may earn other people's admiration. But if you are exhausted inside, that life is still painful. I've met people who, from the outside, seem to be living the dream. Beautiful houses, luxury cars, successful careers. But when I spoke with them more deeply, I saw a kind of exhaustion in their eyes that was difficult to describe. They spent too many years building an outer life that they completely lost the inner self. You see, many people begin the journey towards success with a beautiful dream. They want to help their families, create a better life, prove their worth, escape poverty. But along the way, they start sacrificing too much. They sacrifice their health to earn more money, sacrifice family to chase work, sacrifice peace of mind to pursue the image of success in other people's eyes. And gradually, they no longer recognize themselves. I remember once meeting a very successful businessman before 2009. He had almost everything people dreamed of from the outside. But in a private conversation, he told me, "Jim, I spent 20 years building this career, but I'm not sure I even remember how to enjoy life anymore." That statement made me think deeply. Because society often teaches people how to make a living, but rarely teaches them how to live. People teach you to work hard, compete, achieve results, make more money. But very few people ask you, are you happy? Do you still feel at peace? Are you still yourself? That is why many people achieve external success while feeling completely lost inside. They are always running, always trying to reach one more goal, but never stopping to ask, what am I running for? Do you know the most dangerous thing? People can become accustomed to imbalance. At first, you sacrifice only a little rest, then your health, then family, then the things that once made you happy, until one day your life looks very successful on the outside but feels completely empty inside. I am not saying success is bad. No, I believe you should grow yourself, build your career, create a better life, but do not trade your soul to achieve it. A truly successful life must include health, peace of mind, meaningful relationships, the feeling of living according to your values. If you make a lot of money but live every day stressed, lonely, and exhausted, that is not freedom. That is only a more beautifully decorated prison. Today, social media causes many people to pursue a version of success that does not truly belong to them. They see luxury cars, glamorous lifestyles, perfect images, and begin believing that this is what a dream life looks like. But remember this, what people display online is not always the reality inside their lives. Some people smile on Instagram but cry when they are alone. Some people appear highly successful but live every day under pressure and emptiness. That is why you must be very careful when comparing your life to others. Because when you constantly try to become someone else, you gradually lose yourself. I once said, happiness is not having more. Happiness is becoming more, becoming stronger, kinder, deeper, more valuable to others. That is sustainable success. Self-discipline does not only help you build a career, it also helps you maintain balance between success and life. Discipline helps you know when to stop, know what truly matters, know how to protect your mental health, know how to make time for the people you love. Because in the end, what makes a life meaningful is not how much you own. It is who you become, how you loved, how you lived. I want you to imagine a scene. One day, you achieve every goal you ever pursued. You have the money, you have the fame, you have the achievements. But if at that moment, you no longer have your health, no longer have loved ones beside you, no longer feel joy in living, no longer know who you are, would any of it still matter? Think very carefully about that. Because many people climb to the top of the mountain of success only to discover they placed their ladder against the wrong wall. If you feel this video speaks to what you've experienced, subscribe to continue this journey of transformation with me. Because sometimes, just one correct perspective can save you from years of living in the wrong direction. And what truly determines who you become in the future is not found in the big moments. It is found in the small habits you repeat every single day. Lesson 7. Your habits are creating your future. There's something I learned very early in my life. Your future is not created on one extraordinary day. It is created during very ordinary days. In the way you wake up every morning, in what you do when nobody is watching, in the small habits you repeat every single day. That is why I have always believed this. Real success principles are not found in explosive moments. They are found in your daily habits. You see, many people want to change their lives very quickly. They want powerful motivation, immediate results, one major breakthrough. But life rarely changes that way. A powerful life is usually built very quietly, one day at a time, one small choice at a time. Like building a house brick by brick. You do not see the change immediately, but over time everything begins to change. I once said, success is not something you pursue, it is something you attract by the person you become. And the person you become is determined by your daily habits. If every day you learn a little more, become a little more disciplined, become a little healthier, become a little kinder, your life will change. Maybe not immediately, but it absolutely will change. The dangerous thing is that many people underestimate the power of small actions. They think, one day of procrastination doesn't matter. Quitting one time doesn't matter. One small bad habit is unimportant. But remember this, your life is the result of what you repeat most often, not what you occasionally do. If you constantly procrastinate, lose focus, lack self-discipline, live based on temporary emotions, don't be surprised when your life does not move forward. Because habits are like the steering wheel of a ship, just slightly off course each day, but over time they can lead you somewhere completely different. I remember in the early years when I started changing my life, I did not change through one major decision. I started with very small things. Reading books every day, waking up earlier, surrounding myself with more positive people, learning time management, being disciplined with the promises I made to myself. At first, those things seemed small, but over time, they changed the entire direction of my life. That is what most people do not understand. They want a new life while keeping the same old habits. That cannot happen. You cannot build a strong future through weak actions repeated every day. Today, many people are being controlled by habits they do not even recognize. They wake up and the first thing they do is grab their phone. They let social media decide their mood. They live on instant dopamine. And gradually their ability to focus, remain patient, and think deeply begins disappearing. That is why many people feel unmotivated, unable to focus, constantly exhausted, no longer excited about life. Not because they lack ability, but because their small daily habits are quietly destroying their energy. You see, habits do not only create results, they create who you become. If you build strong daily habits, you become stronger, more confident, more disciplined. If you constantly feed weak habits, you become more prone to procrastination, more likely to give up, more lost. That is why self-discipline is extremely important. Discipline is not about forcing yourself to live miserably. Discipline is the ability to do what is right even when you are not inspired, because inspiration changes every day, but habits determine destiny. I have seen two very different kinds of people. The first only acts when motivated. The second acts even when they do not feel like it. Over time, the second person always goes farther, not because they are more talented, but because they understand the power of consistency. Consistency creates the greatest difference in life. Not going all out for 3 days, but doing the right thing for 3 years. A person who exercises 20 minutes every day for years will completely transform their body. A person who reads 10 pages a day will think completely differently after a few years. Small things, when repeated long enough, become extraordinary power. I want you to remember this sentence. Every day, you are casting a vote for the person you will become. Through every small habit, every small choice, every small action. So ask yourself this. Are your current habits building your future or quietly destroying it? Because one day, your life will accurately reflect what you repeat every day. And the saddest thing is not failure. It is when a person has enormous potential but never uses it. Lesson 8. The saddest tragedy is untapped potential. I believe cemeteries are some of the saddest places in the world, not only because of the people buried there, but because unused potential is buried there too. Books that were never written, ideas that were never started, songs that were never sung, dreams that never had enough courage to be pursued. And the most heartbreaking part is this. So many people leave this world without ever discovering who they truly could have become. Do you know what makes me think deeply? Most people do not live below their potential because they lack talent. They live smaller lives because they fear failure, fear judgment, fear change, and eventually they become used to doubting themselves. I have met incredibly intelligent people who were too afraid to begin. People with wonderful hearts who always believed they were not good enough. People capable of creating something extraordinary yet spent their entire lives playing it safe. You see, potential has no value if it is never used. A seed may contain an entire forest within it, but if it is never planted in the ground, it will remain only a seed forever. Human beings are the same. You may carry within you talent, intelligence, creativity, leadership ability, great dreams. But if you never act, the world will never see it. And after many years pass, life begins to feel heavy, not because you failed, but because deep inside, you know you could have become more. That is a very painful feeling. I experienced that when I was young. There was a period in my life when I had no clear direction. I worked only to survive. I looked at successful people and thought, maybe my life is just meant to be this way. Then I met Earl Schoaf. He saw something in me that I had not yet seen in myself. He said, "Jim, your life will change when you begin expecting more from yourself." That sentence felt like waking me up from a long sleep, because so many people live their entire lives without ever truly believing in their own potential. They lower their dreams to match their fears. They limit themselves before life ever does. Today, this is happening everywhere. Young people constantly compare themselves to others on social media. They see people becoming successful very early and begin thinking, "I'm too late. I'm not good enough. There's nothing special about me." And gradually they stop trying. But listen to me carefully. You do not need to become someone else's version to live a meaningful life. You only need to become the best version of yourself. A great life does not necessarily have to be famous. There are very ordinary people who live deeply meaningful lives. They love sincerely, live responsibly, grow every day, use their abilities to create value for others. That is also a successful life. What matters is not whether you have more than others. What matters is this: are you fully developing your own potential or not? I have always believed this. One of the greatest pains in life is the feeling of what if. What if I had started earlier? What if I had been more courageous? What if I had believed in myself more? What if I had not given up? Those words haunt many people at the end of their lives. And I do not want that to happen to you. Self-discipline does not only help you succeed, it helps you unlock potential that without discipline you may never reach in your entire life. Because potential does not develop on its own. You must nurture it through learning every day, persistence, failures, getting back up again, good daily habits. A strong body does not appear automatically. Neither does a strong mind. Everything must be trained. Do you know what's strange? Many people fear failure so much that they never dare to try. But true failure is not falling down. True failure is taking all your potential to the grave without ever using it. I want you to imagine the best version of yourself. The version that is stronger, more confident, more disciplined, more aligned with your values. That version already exists somewhere inside you right now. The question is, are you willing to become that person? Or will you continue shrinking yourself to fit fear and comfort? Remember this, life does not give its greatest rewards to perfect people. It rewards people who dare to grow. And the moment your life truly changes is when you stop blaming circumstances and start taking responsibility for yourself. Lesson 9, real living begins when you take responsibility. There was one moment that completely changed my life. It was not when I made more money, not when I found a huge opportunity, and not when life suddenly became easier. That moment happened when I stopped blaming. It sounds simple, but trust me, many people never truly do it. People naturally tend to search for excuses for their lives. They say, I was born into difficult circumstances. Nobody helped me. The timing wasn't right. Society is unfair. My family didn't have resources. And sometimes those things are true. Life is not fair to everyone. Some people truly start from much harder positions. But here is what I learned. You cannot control everything that happens to you, but you can always control how you respond to it. That is where true power begins. I was once poor, made mistakes, felt disappointed in myself. There was a time I looked at life and believed everything was my circumstances' fault. Until Earl Schaff asked me a very simple question. Jim, if you continue living exactly like this for the next 5 years, what will your life look like? That question left me silent. Because for the first time, I realized, if my life was not changing, maybe the problem was not the world. Maybe the problem was me. That was a painful moment, but it was also the most freeing moment. Because when you take responsibility for your life, you also take back the power to change it. You see, blame gives people temporary comfort, but it steals their power. When you constantly think, other people are the reason you are unhappy, circumstances are the reason you failed, society is what holds you back, you are giving complete control of your life to external forces. And that is how many people live their entire lives powerless. They wait for a perfect opportunity, someone to save them, a day when everything magically gets better. But life rarely works that way. Real change begins when you look in the mirror and say, I must take responsibility for this life. Not to blame yourself, not to feel guilty, but to reclaim your power. I have seen 2 people experience the exact same failure. One used that failure to blame the entire world. The other used it to grow. A few years later, their lives were completely different. What created the difference was not their starting circumstances. It was their attitude. That is something many young people today need to understand. You may not control where you were born, your family, what happened in the past. But you can control your daily habits, the way you think, the people you surround yourself with, the knowledge you learn, the way you respond to life. That is self-discipline. Discipline is when you stop living according to temporary emotions and begin living according to responsibility. Responsibility for your future, your health, your finances, your life. Many people want a better life, but they do not want to take responsibility for their small daily choices. They want to become healthier without changing habits, become more successful without learning, become happier while still holding on to old thinking. That cannot happen. A new life requires a new version of yourself. I want you to deeply understand this. The day you stop blaming is the day your life begins, because that is the day you stop being a victim of circumstances. You become the driver. And yes, it is difficult, very difficult. It is much easier to say, I don't have time, I don't have opportunities, I'm not lucky enough. But those words will not change your future. Action will. I once said, you must take personal responsibility. You cannot change the circumstances, the seasons, or the wind, but you can change yourself. That is one of the most powerful success principles I have ever learned. When you change yourself, your thinking changes, your actions change, your results change, and eventually your life changes. You do not need to change everything overnight. Just begin taking responsibility for today, for today's choices, for today's habits, for today's decisions, because the future is not created in one huge moment. It is built through small, responsible actions repeated every day. I want to ask you a question. If starting today, you completely stopped blaming and took 100% responsibility for your life, what would be the first thing you change? Think carefully about that, because your answer may be the doorway leading you to an entirely new life. And the most beautiful part is this. No matter what your past looks like, you still have time to start again. Lesson 10, you still have time to change your life. I want to end this video with something I hope you will remember long after the screen turns off. It is not too late to change your life. I know, maybe right now you feel tired. Maybe you feel like you have wasted too many years. Maybe you look at other people's lives and think you have fallen too far behind. But listen to me carefully. As long as you still wake up in the morning, your life is not over yet. There is still time to change your thinking, rebuild yourself, learn new skills, heal old wounds, become the person you were meant to become. The most dangerous thing is not failure. The most dangerous thing is believing you have run out of chances. I have seen people change their lives at 40, 50, even 60. Not because life suddenly became easier, but because they finally decided, enough. I don't want to continue living the same way anymore. That is the moment everything begins to change. You see, life does not change when you simply feel motivated. It changes when you make a real decision. The decision to stop procrastinating, to stop living half-heartedly, to stop betraying your own potential. I want you to understand this. You do not need to become a perfect person to start over. You only need to start. One small step today is still more powerful than waiting for a perfect version of yourself in the future. Maybe today you are not confident yet, not strong yet, do not have all the answers yet. That's okay. Nobody begins the journey of growth with everything perfect. What matters is this: are you willing to take the first step or not? I once said, don't wish life were easier, wish that you were stronger. That is what changes everything. Because when you grow yourself, difficulties no longer feel as frightening. Failure no longer feels like the end. Life begins opening up in a completely different way. Self-discipline is the bridge carrying you from who you are today to who you want to become. Not temporary motivation, not impulsive emotion, but small actions repeated even on the days when you do not want to continue. That is where life truly changes. Today, many people think they need one massive breakthrough to start living better. No. Sometimes the thing that changes your life is simply waking up 30 minutes earlier, reading every day, exercising consistently, saying no to toxic things, believing in yourself a little more. Those small things, when maintained long enough, can create a completely different life. Do you know the most beautiful thing about life? Human beings have the ability to reinvent themselves. You may have failed before and still rise again, lost your direction before and still rediscover yourself, lived in fear before and still learn courage. Your past does not have to determine your future. As long as you are willing to change, starting today, I want you to imagine a scene. 10 years from now, you look back at your current self. What will you say? Will you feel grateful that today you started, or regret that you continued procrastinating? Remember this: life is not changed by beautiful thoughts. It is changed by consistent action. Nobody can live your life for you. Nobody can use time for you. Nobody can become the best version of you except you. So starting today, live more consciously, love more genuinely, become more disciplined, become more courageous. Don't just exist, truly live. Pursue what awakens your soul. Spend time with the people you love. Build a life that when you look back on it, you can smile instead of regret. Because in the end, what matters most is not how long you live. It is how deeply you truly live during the years you had. If this video touched you in some way, take 1 second to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who feels lost in life. Sometimes just one message at the right moment is enough to change the direction of an entire life. And now I want to hear from you. Out of all today's lessons, which one made you think the most? What will be the first thing you change after this video? Share it in the comments. You and I both have one gift today. Use it wisely. I'll see you again in the next video.